Today, my friend reminded me about a blog that I wrote several years ago, and it was an online letter to American gymnast Simone Biles. And I wrote this letter to her several years ago. But I realized when I wrote the letter to her, I was really writing it to so many other people. So today's July 31st. So, in honor of July being National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to read this letter again. Simone was the inspiration for the letter, but this letter is definitely for so many more. I know it's for me. Dear Simone, it's taken me a minute to write you, but I want you to know you have always been the GOAT. And this is long before the Tokyo Olympics. It's not just because of the multiple gold medals and the 19 World Championship medals. It's not just because you have moves that simply defy gravity and are even named after you. It's not just because of the sacrifices and the work that you have poured into perfecting your craft. It's so much more. You have inspired, fought for, and been a leader to your teammates. You've dealt with blatant racism. And with all of that, you remain the GOAT because of the gold medal decision you made. You chose to take care of yourself, recognizing your mental health is of immeasurable wealth. I remember your statement when you made the decision to step back from the Olympics for the moment during the competition, is you said, I have to put my pride aside. I have to do what is right for me and focus on my mental health and not jeopardize my health and well-being. That's why I decided to take a step back. That is a gold medal decision. And I think what bothered me the most were people's reactions to your decision. My heart both ached and was angry at the same time at the comments you received. People told you that you needed to tough it out, that you were selfish, you didn't care about your country. You should just go ahead and play through the pain and push through the trauma. But it made me think of how many times we've played through the pain and we've pushed through the trauma and toughed it out, when maybe there were months that we should have just sat down, took time to rest. You reminded us that we need to take time to treasure ourselves, and it's not selfish to pour into ourselves before pouring into others. We can't pour from empty vessels, and even Jesus recognized that and took time to rest. I love Mark 6:31 that says, Jesus said, let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while. He said this because there were so many people coming and going, and Jesus and his apostles didn't even have time to eat. Now, if Jesus, who was truly the greatest, knew the importance of taking time to step back and rest, why are we criticized for doing the same? Just make it make sense. I'll wait. Simone, you're still the GOAT because you chose to listen to your spirit and your mind and your body. So many of us are walking around wearing exhaustion as if it's this badge of honor. It does not serve us, and sometimes it is too heavy to bear. Simone, you are the GOAT because you chose not to wear it. It took me a while to write this letter because your woman made your actions reflect on my life, especially as being a Black woman. Simone, you reminded us that self-care is essential. You reminded us that self-care and rest is sacred and necessary. That caring for our mental health and self-care is sometimes a difficult but often courageous decision. You reminded us about keeping our boundaries that are protections for ourselves as well as others. You reminded us that thinking of ourselves is not selfish. Thinking of ourselves is essential. You reminded us that it is not selfish to pour into ourselves first before pouring into others. We shouldn't be pouring from empty vessels. Our mental health is a treasure. You reminded us to take off the perfectionist medal that doesn't make space for imperfections and natural flaws, which we need. You reminded us that we do not have to have it together 24 hours a day, and that was never the case. You reminded us to release ourselves from unrealistic expectations, whether our own expectations or the expectations of others. You reminded us that no is a complete sentence and doesn't need an explanation, whether others understand or not. You reminded me to treasure the things and people that bring me joy. You reminded me that the gold standard is taking time to have lunch and brunch with a friend, like I did today. It's having time to have my spirit, body, and soul fed, like I did today. You reminded me of the importance of the appreciation of my therapist and my spiritual rectors and village. Yes, you can love Jesus and go to therapy. You remind us of the importance of listening to our inner voice. You reminded us that sometimes taking care of ourselves means stepping aside so that we can be our best selves. Simone, you shared that you were touched by the love and support that you received. And it made you realize that you were more than your accomplishments and more than gymnastics, and that you didn't believe that before, Simone. You're not the only one. We saw a piece of ourselves in you. We need to be reminded that our worth is not tied to our level of exhaustion, overworking, and sacrifice. We are worthy simply because we are. We are worthy simply because we are. You reminded me about the importance of just taking the time to be. And in the midst of July being National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, your act of courage, of self-care, is a monumental moment for all of us. So, Simone, I know I've written this letter a couple of years ago, but I think I need to just reread it every few years or every few months. And it took me a while originally to write this original letter to you, but I'm also writing this letter to so many others, including myself. You are loved, and your actions reminded us that it's so important to have a supportive and loving community, and sometimes we really do need to not read the comments. You're still the GOAT. And choosing to care for your physical, mental, and spiritual health is and will always be the gold medal decision. So, to all who are listening, choosing to care for your physical, mental, and spiritual health is always a gold medal decision. Dear Simone, it's me again. Thank you for listening. Peace and blessings, and thank you to my friend for reminding me about the letter and the tender reminder that I need to read it again, because it's not just for me, it's for so many others. Peace and blessings.